Welcome to Saland Hill for another Mokoko seed guide. We're going over all 9 here. A couple of these are tricky. We're going to start down on this end because it's way out of the way. These guys respawn really fast. It's tucked just behind this rock here. And it is way out of the way. You got to run all the way down here or come from wherever that is. After this, we're going to go ahead and tab over. Looks like my free teleport buff has fallen off. Oh no, my Founders Pack is over. The game's been out over a month, and now I had to pay 15 whole silver. So, let's head on down and knock out this next one. That was 1 of 9. I found this zone pretty easy. It didn't require anything like a weird sheet music. We didn't actually have to kill anything to get it to spawn. So it's less tricky than some of the other early zones that the videos are already up for. But while you're out here, go ahead and remember to grab stuff for your adventure tome. Grab the marked mobs. Nothing too crazy as far as like, oh, while you're here, this is immediately next to it that I came across. But it might be there. It's not hard to get back. And as we run down here, right beside this rock here, you've got our seed tucked in these little plants. Now, as we run back up, that is 2 of 9. And the Mokoko seeds, for anybody that this is the first one they're seeing of these, is a collection. There's 1,200 or whatever in the game, and as you get these, there's going to be various tiers as you unlock all of them. Say it's at like 50, and then 100, and then 150, or whatever they're at. And some of the rewards are really nice, but these also help build up your roster experience. Your roster experience, of course, giving all sorts of buffs to all the characters on that roster. So quite the big deal. This one's just in this grass that's just in the middle of nowhere here. And then as we continue moving over, there is a second one right here, just next to these boxes, right out in the open. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. And so as we charge on, that roster experience does add up. You can get the roster up to like crazy levels, but many of us that have been playing casually for the last month or whatever the game has been out are probably, moving along through the double digits, and you're picking up a little bit of stats, a little bit of rewards along the way, even some premium currencies. And so what you're going to want to do in this next section is you're going to want to run up this ramp. You're going to want to run up the ramp on the south end of this. Right down here. These are going to allow you to basically jump across these voids here. And the goal is to get to right here on the map. So I'll open up the map, and so you can see this weapon rack and the Mokoko seed glowing right there. And so as I zoom in, you can see it's right there. It's not up on this section. It's actually down just a touch. Not hard to get to at all. And then I'll go down the other way to show that there is a second way here, just in case, I don't know, for any reason you just prefer to go that way. You can walk across this balance beam, and I believe you can make it down that way as well. So, not crazy hard to get to. I think the other way is just a little bit quicker. But as we jump down, you could ride that zip line over to wherever that goes, or you could, let me go ahead and mount up. You could go ahead and come down this ramp here. Now from here, we're actually going to need to move up the map. We've knocked out 5 of 9. So we're moving along, and we need to get to the northern end. So this teleport here, this triport, is great, but let's go ahead and jump all the way up to the nomad camp. As I said, let's jump all the way up to the nomad camp. That's why I mounted in hopes that nothing would be attacking me, but you get what you get. It's easy enough to kill things in this game. So, as we come down here, this is probably the trickiest one, number 6, because on the map it doesn't show up, and so I think a lot of people don't see it. Because it's trying to show you that there is this storage keep here, and then there is this vendor here, but in between, there is a Mokoko seed right here. Right underneath this cover. And so you can actually see it on my mini-map. And so it does show up when it's zoomed in enough. But otherwise, there's no really seeing it. You wouldn't know it's there. So that's the trickiest one in this zone, I think. As far as something that I'm not sure you would ever really naturally, organically find consistently just by playing the game, as opposed to many of these. If you play through it on multiple characters, yeah, I mean, at some point, if you're pretty thorough, you're going to find all of these, but that one is just a little bit tricky. This one is tucked up in these little dead bushes here, and so that brings us up to 7 of 9. So you can see this zone is a little more spread out than like Pride Home or something like that, so it takes just a little bit longer because you're doing all of this running, but it's not a huge problem. I like being in the game, and honestly, when I first got a mount in the game, I was kind of questioning whether or not Diablo 4, because Diablo 4 seems to be having a mount that's very similar to this, with kind of a dismount animation similar to like Guild Wars 2 mount system, and I was concerned that an ARPG couldn't really benefit from a mount, but actually when you're doing things like Mokoko Seeds, it's pretty nice. Pair that with the triport system, and I'm really growing to appreciate having a mount and the ability to run around and cover these distances quite largely when you have just kind of a point of contact that you need to get to for something like a collection or something like that. It's kind of nice. So this is behind this cage over here. So in case that's hard to see, it's nice when they glow once you have them. They obviously don't glow when you haven't gotten them yet, so that makes them easier for me to show you with my collection completed rather than going back and using footage of me like finding them for the first time or anything like that. It's a lot easier to go back and show these after they are all glowing and after I know that I can clear them as a single go. As I get closer to doing some of the dungeons and stuff, some of those require that you do particular things, so getting them all in one run actually becomes incredibly unlikely. It's possible, but there is a very good chance that it's going to be 2 or 3 runs through that dungeon, not your first time ever in there. At the very least, you'll have run it once as a dungeon, then go back and gather all the seeds you missed, but there's a very good chance that some of those that it's like, you can't let any of a particular monster die, or you have to kill all of another particular monster, but you can't go back at a certain point. Those are the sorts of things that do start to kind of lock away, not to mention just the ones that require unique sheet music and all of that. So we've done 8 of 9, and we'll refresh those right at the end, but this last one is very easy, right around past these little lizard turtle things. And here it is, tucked away in these bushes. So what we have is 1, 2 together, very out in the open, 3, 4, this one required the jumping to get to, 5 up behind the cage, 6 in town, very hard to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in town, there we go. 8 up here, and then number 9, the one that we're on right now. Not hard at all to get to. Hopefully that helped, and hopefully if you just missed some along the way and you scrub through this video to find it, that gets you on your way to having collected all of the Mokoko seeds in all the zones. Let's collect those green numbers because it's important or something, kinda.